Agreement 1. Itachi, now fully recovered, ignored Kisami's comment and scanned the surrounding devils. It was clear that if a fight broke out, they would lose. While he could escape using the teleportation ability granted by the system to any ninja village, there was a big if attached. Just like in battle, where he couldn't purchase anything from the shop, he also couldn't teleport during a fight. The situation was grim, but what had captured his full attention were the shock points displayed before him on the system interface. His eyes widened as the numbers flickered, showing a total of more than 130 million shock points earned from the fight. Yet, it still wasn't enough. A plan started forming in his mind. As he looked at Lord Phoenix, a thought struck him: he is my cash cow, or rather, my cash bird. Lord Phoenix, Itachi began, his voice cold but respectful, I've won. He was in no mood for pleasantries. The fight had drained him mentally, and despite the massive rewards from the battle, there was still something more he sought. Lord Phoenix, his golden eyes dim. He stood tall and dignified. He glanced at Itachi with the expression of a leader. Itachi Uchiha. I accept my defeat, and as promised, you shall receive your reward. His tone was calm, though tinged with sorrow, as if the defeat weighed heavily on him. Lady Phoenix, who had been holding her husband with tears in her eyes, looked over at Itachi with a complicated gaze. This young boy, no older than 16, had defeated her husband, one of the top 10 strongest in the underworld. I do not have much to offer you, Itachi, he began, but for now, I can give you 30 bottles of Phoenix tears. It is the least I can do for someone who has shown such strength. Lord Phoenix bowed and continued, I know the agreement was for 100 Phoenix tears, but we cannot give all of them to you and we really don't have it. Seeing one of the heads of a Pillar Devil clan bow to a human sent shockwaves through the devils present. Seeing his father in such a state, Riser could no longer hold back. He forgot his dignity and knelt in front of his father. Father, I am sorry. Riser will never do such a thing again. Forgive me, father. Lord Phoenix ignored his child, unsure of what he might do if he started speaking to him. Instead, he took out 30 Phoenix tears from his storage space, and they began to float in the air. Itachi's eyes darted to the bottles. Phoenix tears were a powerful resource, capable of restoring energy and healing even the gravest injuries. But Itachi's mind was elsewhere, focused on the greater reward. He had fought not just for survival but to gain shock points, and there are more powerful things in the shop than Phoenix tears. Phoenix tears were incredibly important in the underworld and the supernatural world in general. Refusing such a reward would be unthinkable. For a moment, there was silence. The Devil Kings, observing the exchange from a distance, stepped forward. Their presence was intimidating, each exuding immense power. Riser, still kneeling before his father, repeated his earlier plea, his voice cracking with emotion. Father, please forgive me, he sobbed, his tears flowing freely. I promise never to act so foolishly again. I was wrong to challenge him. Please, forgive me. Lord Phoenix did not respond at first. His gaze, cold and filled with disappointment, bore into his son. He had hoped Riser would grow up one day, but the young devil's actions had endangered their family and brought shame upon their name. Itachi coughed, drawing everyone's attention to him. Despite the immense rewards from the battle, he knew shock points were more important. I don't need your Phoenix tears, Itachi said flatly, surprising everyone. His eyes locked onto Lord Phoenix's. You should keep them. But the reward is not just for me. Half of the spoils belong to Kisame. Kisame, standing by Itachi's side, simply nodded, his usual smirk playing on his lips. Itachi's right. We both fought. But if he doesn't want reward, I don't need it either. The entire clearing fell silent. The Devil Kings, including Lord Phoenix, Zekram Bale, and Graphia, stared at the pair in shock. They had assumed Itachi was fighting purely for personal gain. Now they interpreted his refusal as fear. he might have thought they might kill him, which, to some extent, was true. But they hadn't anticipated him refusing the entire reward. All noble devils started to laugh except some. The laughter was broken by Lord Phoenix, who slowly nodded in understanding that Itachi was afraid to take reward. I did not expect such nobility from you, Itachi Uchiha. Your actions have shown me that your strength lies not only in battle but also in your honor. But I must insist, you should take these Phoenix tears as a reward, Lord Phoenix said. Before the moment could continue, a new presence filled the air. Laughter echoed from all directions, and the entire clearing froze as hundreds of white, human-like figures appeared, surrounding them. The devil's eyes widened in disbelief. As they did not think. They were surrounded. Do you think your limited strength can harm Itachi and Kisame? A voice rang out from one of the figures. The humanoid figures were white, with shark-like teeth. We are the White Zetsu. You cannot even sense us, and yet you think you can intimidate Itachi and Kisame. Who were limiting their power in whole fight? Itachi, who had been controlling the White Zetsu, knew this to be partially true. Only those with spatial abilities could sense White Zetsu. Furthermore, these particular Zetsu were summoned by the system, making them undetectable even to beings as powerful as Seerzex or Ajuka. The devils, unable to detect the White Zetsu, now encircling them completely, remained wary. Itachi, ignore the White Zetsu. He turned to Lord Phoenix. Take the 30 Phoenix tears. I don't need them anymore. The only reason I agree for this fight was to teach Riser a lesson. As for our future relationship, consider this a token of goodwill. The devils stared at Itachi, unsure how to respond. They had just witnessed something that few could comprehend, a fight that tested not only their power but also reshaped their understanding of Itachi and Kisame's strength. The White Zetsu stepped forward. Pain has ordered us to take 5 Phoenix tears, 4 for the organization and 1 for you, Itachi. He hopes it will cure your disease. The devil's eyes widened. What disease could this seemingly healthy man have? I don't need them, Itachi said, shocking everyone. Why would he refuse a chance to cure himself? Was the disease too strong for the Phoenix tears, or was there another reason? Ajuka scrutinized Itachi's eyes. He already knew they were not sacred gears but rather a bloodline ability. Such power couldn't have come from nowhere. There was only one possibility, it might be the result of an experiment, perhaps by the church, the old Satan faction, or another group. Ajuka smiled to himself. If devils offer him proper benefits, they might reincarnate him. If he marries a high-class devil from a noble family, there's a high chance his bloodline could pass on. With training and demonic power, Itachi might even reach Devil King class. 31 comments 0 vote. Agreement 2. As the tension in the clearing thickened, one of the White Zetsu clones stepped forward, addressing Itachi with an almost playful tilt of its head. Itachi, why do you refuse the Phoenix tears? They could cure your illness. Itachi's crimson Sharingan spun lazily as his gaze shifted to the still kneeling Riser Phoenix. His voice was cold and measured, cutting through the murmurs of the devils. I didn't fight for material rewards, he said, his tone sharper than any blade. He gestured subtly toward Riser, who flinched under the weight of his gaze. I fought to teach him a lesson his arrogance would never have allowed him to learn otherwise. Riser's face turned crimson as he bowed his head, shame filling the silence. The devils surrounding the clearing whispered among themselves, casting uncertain glances at Itachi. The White Zetsu was unfazed. Then why contact Conan about the reward if you had no intention of taking it? Itachi's expression darkened, and the oppressive weight of his presence caused even seasoned devils to tense. That was to teach her a lesson, he replied coldly. A lesson? The Zetsu asked, its mocking curiosity cutting through the thick air. Itachi turned his full attention to the Zetsu, his crimson gaze sharper than ever. Her actions exposed the existence of shinobi to the supernatural world. By using Kakuzu's money so brazenly, because of her carelessness Kakuzu broke the rule that even we follow. He exposed the existence of us to all supernatural and humans alike. The devils around them froze. Every word was a knife of realization. They were hearing something that was unthinkable to them all. Itachi's voice dropped, becoming an almost menacing whisper. Do you think the 5 great nations will take it lightly? The shinobi villages are more than just hidden factions, they are guardians of humanity. For thousands of years, we have worked in the shadows to protect the human world from threats it cannot comprehend. While devils, fallen angels, and angels played their games of dominance, we silently ensured the survival of humankind. Seers X Lucifer, his commanding presence like a beacon among the chaos, turned to Ajuka Beelzebub. Ajuka, if this is true. If this, shinobi, world has remained hidden for thousands of years, does that mean they've been protecting humanity without us knowing? Ajuka's sharp mind raced. It's not just about protection, Seers X. The level of secrecy required to operate so effectively is staggering. It suggests an infrastructure, a network, far beyond anything we've encountered. If their methods are this advanced, they could easily infiltrate the underworld or other supernatural realms. Their ability to shield humanity from threats we never noticed is even more alarming. Zekram Baal, the ever-pragmatic elder of the Baal family, frowned deeply. This revelation changes everything. We cannot afford to dismiss the shinobi as mere mortals. If they've been defending humanity for millennia, it means they possess very unique abilities. The murmurs among the devils grew louder. Words like guardians, unseen power, and humanity's protectors filled the air. Itachi spoke again, his voice slicing through the chaos. While the supernatural world indulged in its feuds, shinobi perfected the art of subtlety, deception, and war. Our mission was never to dominate, but to safeguard. The shinobi villages have faced threats from demons, rogue deities, and creatures far more terrifying than you could imagine. And we did so without drawing attention to ourselves. He let the weight of his words settle and looked at the devils present. You've lived in a false sense of superiority, believing the supernatural world to be the apex of existence. But the shinobi have operated beyond your understanding. We are the knife in the dark, the force that keeps humanity standing, even when the odds are against them. Itachi's gaze swept across the gathered devils, his tone becoming sharper. But now, because of carelessness, that delicate balance is at risk. If the supernatural world turns its gaze to the shinobi, it will force a confrontation that neither side is prepared for. This is not a matter of pride or power, it's a matter of survival. Seers X, eyes narrowed, and he used magic to communicate his thoughts with others. If the shinobi world has truly shielded humanity from threats for millennia, their methods are far more advanced than we can comprehend. But why hide? Why not join the supernatural councils and work openly? He was waiting for response, and Ajuka answered, his tone analytical. Because openness invites vulnerability. If the shinobi's purpose is to protect humanity, revealing their existence would make them a target. Their secrecy is their greatest strength. Zekram Baal's expression hardened. This is troubling. A faction with such resolve and discipline could be a formidable ally, or a devastating enemy. We must tread carefully. Lord Phoenix, his face pale but resolute, asked, how have we never detected them? Even with our magic and systems in place. He said aloud, forgetting they were using thought communication. The white Zetsu chuckled, its grin widening. Because the shinobi are not bound by your rules. They do not rely on magic, faith, or even power. They rely on skill, strategy, and most importantly chakra. Your magic scans. Your wards. Child's play to bypass for those trained in the ways of the shadows. Ajuka turned to the Zetsu, his voice calm but firm. If the shinobi have truly existed for this long, why reveal yourselves now? He paused before smiling. My ability can detect that this story you've put up has a lot of flaws, so please tell the truth, otherwise. He said, his eyes shining green because of his unique formula. The Zetsu's grin didn't falter. Because the choice was taken from us. After all, we are not in a good position right now. Idiot, Kisame said, and both Itachi and Kisame vanished into the shadows, leaving the devils with an unsettling realization. Itachi, who thought he had made a perfect story to fool the devils, was hit hard this time. Ajuka, Itachi muttered, as he never thought a side character like him could interrupt his lie like this. He had lost a lot of shot points, and that's why he had to push even further and try to recover them. Controlling Zetsu, he spoke some random excuse. Because the choice was taken from us. After all, we are not in a good position right now. Devil's Pav. All the devils were thinking the same thing. The shinobi world was not an enemy to be trifled with, it was a force that had silently shaped the fate of humanity and could do the same to the supernatural world. 1 comments 0 vote. Agreement 3. The tension was palpable. High-ranking devils, including the Devil Kings, just wanted to capture this strange creature known as White Zetsu. Its unsettling grin and alien aura set many on edge, but it was the chain of events and the information it held that kept them from acting. The White Zetsu clones all around at this point started to go into the ground. All devils present were unable to detect them, the only exception being Ajuka, who with his magic could only detect them around 100 meters. Only one Zetsu was left, and he began to speak. With the existence of us fully exposed thanks to Itachi and Kisame, the villages will not take the risk of revealing themselves peacefully. If the shinobi villages act, Zetsu began, his voice eerily calm, their methods will not be straightforward war. They will not challenge you with armies or announce their intentions. They will strike from the shadows, and their first targets will not be your soldiers. A hush fell over the room. Zetsu's grin widened. They will kill your most important people. Your kings. Your leaders. Your heirs. The individuals who bind your society together. They've done it before, and they will do it again. Sears X Lucifer's eyes narrowed. My question remains, if you know this, why are you telling us? What do you gain from revealing these tactics? Also, what do you mean they have done it before? Zetsu chuckled softly. Because we are their target, they want to kill us. But if you wish to understand the shinobi villages, let me enlighten you. Zetsu's tone grew darker as it continued. The shinobi villages are not mere collections of humans with the ability to wield chakra. They are nations within nations, hidden from the eyes of the supernatural world. Each village operates as an independent power, training generations of assassins, spies, and ninjas. Their purpose has always been to protect humanity, but their methods are anything but noble. They believe in balance. To maintain that balance, they will manipulate, deceive, and eliminate anything they perceive as a threat to themselves and humanity as a whole, even if it means targeting supernatural beings like you. Ajuka Beelzebub leaned forward, his analytical mind racing. If they've remained hidden for so long, why reveal themselves now? He asked, the same question. He also started to get suspicious, as this question had come many times, but this Zetsu had always avoided it and given them more information. It was like he was intentionally doing it to give them information about the shinobi world. Sighing, Zetsu looked at everyone before saying, "This is the final time, and in simple language I am telling you, they want us dead, and to avoid this we have diverted their attention to all of you." Zetsu replied, glancing briefly at Ajuka. This exposure was intentional. The shinobi villages will act to ensure their survival. If that means war with the supernatural world, so be it. Lord Phoenix spoke, his golden eyes narrowing. If they are such a threat, why should we trust you? What guarantees do we have that you're not working with them? Zetsu's grin grew sharper. Because I offer you something the shinobi villages would never give, information. I can tell you why your wars have been so bloody, why your leaders have suffered sudden deaths, and why chaos seems to follow your kind. The devils in the room stiffened. Sears X exchanged a cautious glance with Ajuka before addressing Zetsu. What are your terms? Zetsu's voice was smooth and calculated. Military equipment, funds, and resources. I require 50 billion in devil currency, 500,000 advanced magical weapons, and 1,000,000 top-tier full-body armor. Only then will I reveal the truth. The room erupted into whispers and protests, but Sears silenced them with a raised hand. Very well, he said. But there must be additional conditions. In exchange, Itachi and Kisame will train our young devils and, if possible, teach them chakra. Zetsu tilted his head, considering. Agreed. And we will also establish an Akatsuki base in the underworld, from which we will eliminate any human infiltrators who pose a threat to your society. The deal was struck, but unease lingered in the room. As discussions continued, an ultimate class devil, an older noble who had long been a peripheral figure in the court, stepped forward. His demeanor was calm, but his voice carried an edge of suspicion. How can we trust this creature? He asked, addressing Sears directly. And why should we allow these shinobi to train our kind? They are a greater danger to us than any human infiltrator. I suggest we eliminate them now, before they have the chance to betray us. His words struck a chord with many devils, and a murmur of agreement swept through the hall. Before Sears could respond, Zetsu moved. In a flash, its body darted toward them, startling everyone present. Everyone could follow his movements, as he was low mid-class at best. But what happened next shocked them all. The ultimate class devil also moved, but not to defend Sears. Instead, he lunged at the Devil King himself, a small, needle-like blade in his hand, aimed directly at the Devil King's heart. Years of experience and countless assassination attempts had honed Sears' instincts. In an instant, he sidestepped the attack, severed the traitor's hand with a swift movement of his pod, and grabbed him by the neck, lifting him off the ground. The room froze. Why? Sears demanded, his voice low and deadly. The traitor's eyes burned with fanatical hatred. Because devils are evil. Our kind will one day be destroyed by the humans you use as tools. The shinobi will bring peace to the world, and you are a stain that must be wiped away. The place grew cold. A collective chill ran down the spines of the devils as the weight of the revelation sank in. Sears' grip tightened. Their influence reaches even here. The traitor sneered, blood dripping from his lips. You can't stop us. Stop reincarnating humans if you value your life. Without hesitation, Sears crushed his neck, ending the traitor's life instantly. As the traitor's body fell limp, Zetsu chuckled softly. Do you see now? Even among your ranks, the influence of the shinobi spreads. Especially the Land of Fire, who has been a silent, biggest threat to your kind for years, manipulating events from the shadows. The death of your former Devil King. Slow poison, courtesy of shinobi agents. The devils erupted in outrage, but Zetsu raised a hand. If you want more information, the terms remain the same. Provide the resources we requested, and I will reveal everything. Ajuka stepped forward, his voice sharp. We will give you what you ask. But in return, you will ensure the safety of the underworld from shinobi interference. Zetsu's grin returned. Consider it done. The transfer was quick. In 12 days, the resources were delivered. This could happen only because the devils had used up their own inventory to get the answer quickly. Everyone wanted to know how these humans caused the deaths of their leaders and the heavy losses they suffered. Itachi, who was the reason for all this as he was the one controlling Zetsu through a system, teleported himself to one of the ninja villages in the Land of Fire, Konoha, to relax. But sadly, he would not have time for that. Hello there, my dear readers. In this chapter, you may notice that the characters seem to be repeating the same things, and you might feel that the story lacks direction. I have written it intentionally this way, as I am trying to show that Itachi is not a master manipulator and has messed up the story between DxD and Naruto. This will come back to bite him, but it will also serve as a learning experience. He will improve in the future after analyzing his mistakes. 3 comments 0 vote. Konoha. The hidden leaf village stretched before Itachi, eerily quiet. The silence was unnerving, but what caught his attention most was how perfect everything looked, almost unnaturally so. Well, this is exactly the same as in the anime, isn't it, Kisame? Itachi muttered, scratching the back of his head as he took in the empty streets. A flawless replica of Konoha, down to the last brick, but no people. Guess the system is hell-bent on draining me of shock points. Beside him, Kisame strolled lazily, Samahata slung over his shoulder. He glanced around and chuckled. Creepy, isn't it? Like walking through a ghost town. Why not populate this place, Itachi? Itachi shrugged, stuffing his hands into his pockets. Don't ask me about it. The system can summon normal humans for 10 shock points, but I don't like the idea of it. Kisame smirked. And you like the idea of summoning people like me? Yes, Itachi replied with a small smirk. After all, who doesn't want allies? Summoning normal people wouldn't give him any real advantage. The system mentioned it would boost his overall combat power, but it still felt like a waste to him. Anyway, it's not like I'm staying here to enjoy the sights. This place is just a tool, a base for summoned people like you. As for a normal population, I'll summon them once I've got 1 billion shock points. Itachi opened the system interface and scanned the details. Hidden Leaf Village. Current area, 16 square kilometers, population capacity, 100,000. Total operational zone extends to 500 square kilometers, with empty outposts available for fortification. Once the entire village is populated, the host's overall power will increase by 10%. Kisame raised an eyebrow. Sounds powerful. But too bad it costs so much shock points. You should have asked the system to summon people for a tavern or something, might have made this place feel less depressing. Itachi rolled his eyes. Yeah, because a tavern is exactly what I need right now. He shook his head. If it bothers you so much, go check out the Land of Water. I'm sure you'll like that place. Kisame grinned. Don't mind if I do. You sure you'll be fine here by yourself? Not too lonely or anything. I'll manage, Itachi replied dryly. Now go before I change my mind. With a laugh, Kisame vanished, the system doing its job perfectly, leaving Itachi alone in the empty streets of his fabricated village. As he strolled through the lifeless streets, Itachi's casual demeanor slipped slightly. He'd sent Kisame away for a reason, to inquire about something important from the system. Something was wrong with his eyes and chakra. Despite having the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, his eyes still bled whenever he used their abilities. Although there was no pain except when his chakra was extremely low, he was unable to summon the full power of his Susanoo, something that should be at least at a multi-country level. Okay, system, Itachi said, rubbing his temples. What's the deal with my eyes? I thought, eternal, meant no drawbacks. Why do I still feel like I'm using a defective version? The system's response was immediate. The host lacks the foundational Indra or Asura chakra required to stabilize and fully awaken the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi stopped in his tracks, blinking. Indra or Asura chakra? Okay, I'm going to need you to break that down for me. Why do I need it, and why didn't you mention this earlier? The eternal Mangekyo Sharingan requires a resonance between Indra or Asura chakra to achieve its full potential. Without this balance, the host's chakra cannot sustain the power, resulting in inefficiency and instability. Itachi sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Great. So, you're telling me I've been running around with a half-baked version of my powers. Fantastic. What's the fix? Solution. Host must purchase Indra or Asura chakra from the system store. Cost. 250 million system points each. Alternatively, purchasing both grants a 40% chance of awakening the Otsutsuki body. Cost. 600 million system points. Itachi raised an eyebrow. 600 million points. Yeah, because that's totally reasonable. What about Sage Mode? Would that help? System notification. Sage Mode is available for 200 million system points. However, it will not address the host's chakra incompatibility issues. Figures, Itachi muttered. You really don't make this easy, do you? He frowned as another thought crossed his mind. Also, at first, because I was not fighting strong enemies, I failed to realize it. What's going on with my chakra? Why do I feel like my attacks have been downgraded? The host's chakra is being adjusted to align with this world's unique power systems, such as Senjutsu, Devil Energy, and Holy Energy. These power systems operate on frequencies that differ from chakra. Also, chakra is completely different from mana in this world. What do you mean? Itachi asked, his face darkening. He didn't like where this was going. In simple terms, the system is converting your chakra into Senjutsu energy, as it is the closest frequency to chakra in this world. This adjustment allows others to perceive your abilities as Senjutsu-based. I knew it, Itachi muttered, his suspicions confirmed. This system is literally trying to backstab me. As he approached the door to the Uchiha compound, Itachi paused, his hand resting on the handle. He sighed. Guess I'll figure this out eventually. Not like I have much of a choice. He opened the door, but the moment his foot stepped inside, the world shifted beneath him. The floor gave way, and Itachi plummeted into a vast void. Reacting quickly, he gripped the doorframe with one hand to stop his fall. His Sharingan flared to life as he scanned the infinite darkness below. From the abyss, a massive, serpentine dragon with crimson scales and burning eyes stared back at him. It was none other than the Great Red, a true dragon, a being capable of killing him in an instant. Warning: host has encountered a dimensional anomaly and has come in contact with the being called Great Red. It is highly possible he knows you are a foreigner. This is a direct result of the host disabling the system's inquiry and security functions. 1 comments 0 vote. Download the app for greater interaction. You can chat with me about my writing experience apart from the comments section. King_001FN. Download app now. Great Red 1. Itachi dangled from the edge of the void, gripping the doorframe with one hand as the infinite darkness below stared back at him. The oppressive silence was shattered by a guttural growl, and a massive serpentine figure emerged from the abyss. Its crimson scales shimmered with an eerie glow, and its burning eyes locked onto Itachi with an intensity that sent chills through even him. Not again, Itachi muttered, his voice low. He did not want to fight someone right now. The dragon, the Great Red, shifted forward, its immense form twisting in the void. Its lips curled into what could only be described as a draconic grin. So, a foreigner dares tread in my world again, the dragon's voice boomed, resonating in the emptiness. It wasn't just a sound. It was a force that pressed against Itachi's mind, threatening to unravel him. Itachi's Sharingan flared to life. And who are you to claim this space? The dragon's grin widened. I am the Great Red. This is my void. But more importantly, what are you? Before Itachi could answer, the air around him began to distort. A crimson light began to build in the dragon's mouth, the energy coalescing into a deadly beam. Shit, Itachi growled, desperation flashing in his eyes. He reached out to the system in his mind. System. Open the shop. The interface blinked into existence, the options sprawling before him. His fingers flew across the menu. Indra's chakra. 250 million system points. Confirm purchase. Yes. Just do it. Itachi roared as the dragon's breath surged toward him. The transaction completed, and a torrent of power flooded his body. His Sharingan burned fiercely, shifting into a swirling, blazing pattern. Chakra erupted from him in waves, his Susanoo forming with a thunderous roar. Unlike its previous stages, it was fully armored now, towering, menacing, and gleaming in crimson. A colossal blade materialized in its hand, its edge radiating an ancient, otherworldly energy. This was no ordinary weapon. It could seal anything it touched. Itachi's Susanoo lunged forward, its speed defying its massive size. The dragon's breath struck, but the armored Susanoo twisted just in time, avoiding a direct hit. Even so, the attack tore through its defenses, obliterating half of its form. Chakra surged again, and his Susanoo reformed, fully intact. Its armored visage glared at the dragon as Itachi advanced, the blade glinting in the void's unnatural light. The clash was cataclysmic. Itachi's Susanoo swung its blade, the energy slicing through the void itself. The blade connected with the great red scales, and for a moment, the impossible seemed to happen, a crack formed where the weapon struck. But then, something shifted. The dragon's burning eyes glowed brighter, and Itachi felt an overwhelming pressure in his mind. His focus wavered, and he stumbled. System. Open the shop. He shouted again, scrolling frantically for something, anything, that could save him. But it was too late. The dragon's eyes pulsed with an unnatural light, and Itachi's mind unraveled. Memories surged forward, his past life, dreams, his choices, and the fragments of his existence in this new world. He relived everything in a second. His time as a child prodigy. The day he joined the Anbu. The massacre of his clan. The pain of betrayal. His role as a double agent. Then, disjointed visions of this new world flashed before him, blurs of strange powers and foreign energies. The overload was too much. Blood streamed from his ears and mouth as he collapsed inside his Susanoo. His consciousness spiraled into darkness. The great red roared, its massive form surging forward. It opened its mouth and struck with earth-shattering force. The Susanoo's head shattered with a deafening crunch. Itachi's body was also eaten with the Susanoo's head. The dragon loomed over the place where Itachi once was, its fiery eyes burning with triumph. This was the end of Itachi, or was it? 2 comments 0 vote. Great Red 2. The void trembled as the Great Red shattered the isolated space, its massive form glowing as the energy of the dimensional gap rushed in. Streams of chaotic power poured into the void. The Great Red loomed over a place where Itachi was alive a few seconds ago, triumph gleaming in its fiery eyes. This was it, the intruder was finished. But then, the dimensional gap's energy shifted. The dragon's eyes became sharp as an unnatural disturbance rippled through the void. It glanced back instinctively, its gaze falling upon the center of the swirling chaos. The dimensional energy converged in an impossible way, twisting into an ominous vortex. And then it happened, a blinding red light erupted, consuming everything for a split second. When the light faded, the void was silent again, but something stood where there was once only emptiness. A towering figure. A perfect Susanoo. Its armored form radiated an overwhelming power, the glow of its chakra suffusing the void with crimson light. Its sharp, angular lines seemed to cut through the very fabric of reality, and in its hands, it held a colossal blade that pulsed with sealing energy. Inside the Susanoo, Itachi stood, alive, but the Great Red saw something that it thought was impossible. Itachi's one eye was white, permanently blind, and the Great Red's heart trembled for the first time in many years. Izanagi. Itachi murmured, his voice almost a whisper. The forbidden technique had cost him dearly, but it had brought him back from death. He was forced to use Izanagi, a technique that allows the user to briefly control reality. If he had been even a second late in buying it, his journey would have ended. The Great Red's eyes widened in shock, a rare tremor of terror flickering through its gaze. It was as if it had seen something it was never meant to witness, an ancient memory clawing its way to the surface. You. The dragon growled, its voice uncertain, almost hesitant. For the third time in its existence, the Great Red felt something it had never known, fear. Itachi steadied himself, his remaining Sharingan flaring to life. Thanks to the chakra of Indra, his Susanoo stood in its full glory, stable and unwavering. The immense blade reformed in its hand, gleaming with deadly intent. Despite losing one eye, his power was still equal to that of a devil lord, if not more. Itachi's voice was calm, yet cold. You forced my hand, dragon. This will end now. He said this, doing his act as the amount of shock points he had just gotten from the Great Red was mouth-watering. He hoped he could gain more and at least have enough to escape from this place. The Susanoo moved with terrifying speed, closing the distance in an instant. The blade lashed out, aiming directly for the Great Red's eye. The dragon, still in its daze, failed to react in time. The blade pierced through its fiery gaze, sending a shockwave reverberating through the void. The Great Red roared, its scream filled with agony and rage. Its massive form convulsed, shaking the isolated space violently. Streams of blood and energy erupted from the wound as the sealing properties of the blade began to take effect. Itachi's face remained stoic, but his trembling eye betrayed his inner turmoil. He had landed a decisive blow, yet the dragon's pain clawed at him in ways he couldn't explain. The Great Red, regaining its senses, roared again. Its good eye burned with a renewed fury, and its energy surged. Itachi barely had time to react as the dragon's oppressive power struck at his mind once more. For several seconds, Itachi froze. His body was rigid, his mind spiraling into chaos. Memories flooded him, but this time it was different. Blood streamed from his ears as the mental assault tore at his consciousness. But it was too late for the Great Red. The Susanoo's blade pushed deeper, severing more of the dragon's power. The beast's thrashing became erratic, its movements desperate. The dimensional gap responded violently, its chaotic energy spiraling out of control. Itachi, his vision blurred and his body on the verge of collapse, forced himself to focus. His Susanoo stood firm, its blade still lodged in the dragon's eye. The Great Red let out one final, deafening scream. Its form began to glow faintly, the sealing energy overtaking it. Itachi steadied his breathing, his eye narrowing. This isn't over. Itachi hoped this was reality. But sadly, he was up against a being capable of destroying multiple planets, a being far above his level. A ripple of energy spread out, and the next second, as if it had all been a bad dream for the Great Red, it found itself perfectly fine. Using his power of dreams, he had manipulated reality just like Itachi. He was in top health now, but the same could not be said for Itachi, who had spent all of his power on the sealing sword. His energy was nearly spent. Gonna end this chapter here with some mystery. Why did the Great Red's behavior change when Izanagi was used? What was the second time Itachi saw, and why did that attack not harm him much? Who were the two people the Great Red was afraid of? Why or MC who just have Itachi's memory relieved Itachi's past? Also, here are the powers of the Great Red that I've created on my own. 1. Super Strength. 2. Dream Manipulation. Represents dreams in the past, present, and future. 3. Dream Overload. Can use his power as an attack by showing dreams of the present, past, and future at once. At full power, even high ultimate class beings can only sit and die. 4. Bad Dream. Consumes too much power, but this ability has the power to change reality. At its most powerful form, it can even be used to alter reality at a planetary level. 2 comments 0 vote. The Deal in the Void. The air was heavy with tension, yet the scene before them was oddly serene. The dimensional gap, once a chaotic maelstrom, had given way to a strange pocket of tranquility. A stone courtyard stretched out endlessly, bordered by black skies streaked with crimson light. The ground beneath them was ancient and cracked, radiating faint energy that pulsed in rhythm with the void beyond. Itachi sat cross-legged on one side of a worn stone table, his half-destroyed uniform revealing a scarred chest. His remaining Sharingan glimmered faintly, but his other eye, now a lifeless white, was a stark reminder of the toll he had paid. Despite his injuries, his posture was composed, his face a mask of calm calculation. Across from him lounged the Great Red, now in human form. He looked nothing like the fearsome dragon that had shaken the dimensional gap. Instead, he resembled a delinquent, messy crimson hair, a devil-may-care grin, and a loose, black and red jacket over a white shirt emblazoned with an abstract flame pattern. His pants were ripped at the knees, and he wore boots scuffed from countless fights. A studded bracelet glinted on his wrist, completing his rebellious image. His eyes, however, were unsettlingly normal. Unlike Itachi's, they showed no signs of damage, glowing faintly with an otherworldly vibrancy. Itachi, seated across from him, was angry with himself because of his stupidity. This all happened when he turned off the security system of the system, allowing the Great Red to locate him. The Great Red leaned back in his chair, balancing it precariously on two legs. "So," he drawled, his tone teasing but curious, "how exactly do you plan to merge this Naruto world into the mess that is DxD?" Itachi's gaze sharpened, his lips curving into a faint smirk. "So you know," he said simply. "Maybe using your dream power, or you were spying on me." The Great Red raised an eyebrow. "You talk about it like it's some kind of pervert who likes to see people's dreams to know about their hobbies. My question remains, how will you add the Naruto world into DxD?" Itachi's single Sharingan gleamed, and a rare glimmer of excitement danced in his eyes. "I'm not going to add the Naruto world into DxD, but rather, I want to make the Naruto world native to DxD." He hesitated, a faint grin breaking his stoic demeanor. "Don't you think it's exciting? How will the supernatural world react to a group of powerful humans popping out of nowhere?" The Great Red chuckled, leaning forward. "You're a twisted one, Uchiha. I like it. Let me join in. I've been bored for centuries anyway. Besides..." His grin widened, showing off his sharp teeth. "I'd love to mess with those devils and angels too." Itachi's face darkened slightly. "No," he said firmly. The dragon blinked, clearly taken aback. "No. What do you mean, no?" "The system," Itachi explained, his voice steady. "It doesn't allow entities outside the Naruto universe to generate shock points. Your interference would break the balance." A clear warning window was displayed in front of him. "None Naruto characters can generate shock points." The Great Red frowned, slumping back into his chair. "That's a stupid rule. What's the point of all this if I can't have some fun?" Itachi sighed. "I didn't make the rules, but I have to follow them." For a moment, the Great Red looked genuinely crestfallen. He rested his chin on his hand, staring off into the void. Then, an idea struck Itachi. He bought multiple blood vials from the system shop. Vials filled with blood samples, at least 1,000, alongside them were metallic headbands, each engraved with the unique symbols of the ninja villages, Konoha, Suna, Hiri, and more. The Great Red's eyes narrowed. "What's that?" Itachi smirked, holding up a vial. "Blood samples of various shinobi, along with their village headbands. This is the key for you to participate in this world building." The system's voice echoed in his mind, protesting. "Warning. The integration of non-native entities into the Naruto system is unprecedented. Their actions cannot directly affect the main plot and will generate no shock points." Itachi's Sharingan glinted dangerously. "You will not participate in the fight. I assure you." The system hesitated, then fell silent. Seeing this, Itachi closed his eyes, and the conversation he had with the Great Red resurfaced. Yes, the only reason he was still alive and talking to the Great Red like nothing had happened was due to the conversation he had with the Great Red, which had changed his plans and motives in this world. The Great Red's grin returned, wider than before. "So, what do I have to do?" Itachi's expression grew serious. "Before anything else, answer my questions." The Great Red leaned forward, his smirk fading slightly. "Fine. Ask away." "First," Itachi began, "how did you locate me?" Itachi wanted to hear it from his mouth. The dragon's grin returned. "Dream power," he said simply. "Your existence leaked into the void out of nowhere. It was like a living being appeared out of nowhere in this world." Itachi's gaze hardened. "Second, Why did you want to kill me? The Great Red's eyes narrowed. Because I don't want other worlders meddling in this dimension. I've seen what happens when they start rewriting rules. It's chaos, chaos even I can't control. Itachi paused, processing the response. Then, his voice dropped lower. Third. If you can see dreams of the present, past, and future, then you surely know the ambitions of the villains in DxD. Why not kill them instead? The Great Red's carefree demeanor faltered. Annoyance flashed across his face. Ungrateful, aren't you? I could have killed you outright. I even blocked supernatural beings from erasing human memories to let you carry out your little schemes. And yet you. Itachi's eyes widened, the realization hitting him like a thunderclap. What did you say? The dragon crossed his arms, glaring. You heard me. I blocked memory wipes. Do you know how many headaches that's caused me? Itachi's Sharingan spun furiously, a storm of thoughts crashing through his mind. The implications of what the Great Red had just revealed were staggering. He thought that the reason humans did not forget about the events was that the supernatural chose not to remove them. But hearing what the Great Red said, it seemed like he was the one who stopped the supernatural from altering the memories of humans. 1 comments 0 vote. Grand plan begins 1. Itachi let out a tired sigh, suddenly lowering his head. Great Red tilted his head, raising an eyebrow. What's with the serious tone, Itachi? Itachi's remaining Sharingan spun slowly, its crimson hue sharp against his pale face. I am grateful for what you have done, and I will not ask why you chose not to kill the people who will kill you in the future. I also agree to make you a part of this grand plan I've been considering, but I need you to eliminate anyone who poses a threat to it. A smirk spread across Great Red's face. Oh. You're already ordering me around. I thought you'd at least wait until we become friends. Itachi ignored the remark, pulling out a scroll from his pouch. With a flick of his wrist, it unfurled to reveal a list of names written in bold, precise strokes. There were 13 names in total, some well-known, others obscure, but all significant threats to his schemes. Great Red's eyes scanned the list, his smirk fading into a more serious expression. 13 targets. Devils, fallen angels, even some stray gods and other factions. Not exactly light work. You'll manage, Itachi replied curtly. The dragon chuckled. Fair enough. But before I start playing assassin, you need to get stronger. Your system's holding you back. Itachi's gaze sharpened. Explain. Great Red leaned casually against a stone pillar, his arms crossed. The system is manipulating your chakra, converting it into senjutsu energy whenever you use techniques of chakra in this world. That's fine for basic illusions and tricks, but it's a leash. If you want to truly harness your power, you need to bypass the system and align your chakra with this world's mana. Itachi frowned, his analytical mind already dissecting the concept. And how do I do that? The dragon's smirk returned. Simple. Need to learn how to tap into the life energy of the beings here, devils, angels, and fallen in particular. Their energy resonates with this dimension's mana. By manipulating that resonance with your chakra, you can bypass the system entirely. The Sharingan Itachi's eye spun as he processed the explanation. Show me. Over the next 10 days, the courtyard became a makeshift training ground. Great Red began by bringing in several lower-ranked devils, each one bound by a powerful sealing magic. The devils snarled and cursed, their crimson eyes burning with hatred, but their power was tightly suppressed. Your goal, Great Red explained, is to project your chakra into them, not as an attack, but as a thread. Feel the flow of their demonic energy. Align your chakra with that flow, and then manipulate as if it were your own. Itachi approached the first devil, his expression calm but focused. Closing his eyes, he placed a hand on the devil's shoulder, forging a connection to their demonic energy. Reaching Reaching out with his chakra, he let it intertwine with the devil's power, a chaotic and volatile force, so unlike the disciplined flow of chakra he was accustomed to. For hours, he worked, failing time and again to establish the alignment. Each failure brought a searing backlash of energy, leaving burns and scars on his hands. Yet Itachi pressed on, his resolve unshaken. By the 5th day, he made his first breakthrough. The devil he was practicing on froze mid-snarl, its eyes widening in terror as Itachi's chakra infiltrated its core. A faint ripple of control passed through its body, and its struggles ceased. It was fully controlled by Itachi. Great Red clapped slowly. Not bad, Uchiha. You're getting the hang of it. By the 10th day, Itachi had mastered the technique. He could now align his chakra with a devil's energy effortlessly, bypassing the system's restrictions. The first thing he tested was an advanced genjutsu. Instead of relying on demonic energy, he cast it purely with chakra, weaving the devil into a nightmare of his own making. The devil collapsed, its screams echoing through the void. This was possible because chakra is a life force energy produced by the body, flowing through a network of pathways. Itachi just had to tap into the life energy of the devil to get the same effect as someone who has a chakra network in their body. Itachi straightened, his breathing steady despite the effort. His Sharingan gleamed with satisfaction. Impressive, Great Red admitted, a genuine note of respect in his voice. You've got talent, I'll give you that. Having mastered the new technique, Itachi decided to return the favor. You've taught me well, he said, but there's one thing you lack to help in my grand plan. Great Red raised an eyebrow. Oh. And what's that? Ninjutsu. Over the next few days, Itachi trained Great Red in the art of transformation techniques, which was very important for his plans. He had also trained himself to use ninjutsu by drawing it directly from chakra, rather than relying on the system to convert it into senjutsu, despite receiving countless warnings against it. As Itachi observed Great Red, he reflected on the dragon's immense raw power, a double-edged sword. While it was undeniably formidable, it made Great Red far too conspicuous, a glaring beacon to the supernatural world. If Great Red could learn to wield chakra, however, it would become much easier to mask his presence and deceive the watchful eyes of their enemies. Reflecting on this, Itachi guided him through the intricacies of chakra manipulation, demonstrating how to transform his dragon energy into chakra. Some might wonder, wasn't Great Red the one who taught Itachi how to use chakra? Why would he need Itachi's help now? The truth, however, was far from what one might expect, and far more painful. Great Red hadn't taught Itachi anything about chakra. In reality, Itachi had figured it out on his own. Great Red had been more like a clueless student in a classroom, fumbling to answer a teacher's question by asking his friend. While he pretended to know, he hadn't actually understood what Itachi was doing. The task of mastering chakra manipulation had fallen entirely on Itachi's shoulders. At first, Great Red struggled, his transformations crude and unstable. But under Itachi's guidance, he quickly improved. By the end of their sessions, he could seamlessly use basic ninja techniques and transformation. The two stood at the edge of the courtyard, the list of names hovering between them like a silent specter. Before I begin, Great Red said, his tone uncharacteristically serious, there's one thing I want to know. Itachi turned to him, his gaze unreadable. What is it? The dragon's eyes gleamed with an intensity that made even Itachi hesitate. Why are you so determined to pull this off? What's the real reason behind your plan? Itachi's expression darkened, his Sharingan spinning once more. You'll know soon enough. For now, focus on your task. The dragon chuckled, but there was no humor in his voice. You're a dangerous man, Uchiha. Let's hope I don't regret letting you live. Itachi's lips curved into a faint, enigmatic smile.